This is the first anniversary of the entry into force of the Treaty on the Prohibition of Nuclear Weapons. Tomorrow is the day, because it happened on January 22nd, 2021. And we are here not only to celebrate that anniversary, but to take the message to our country, the United States, to join the treaty. That is our message today. We will be walking from the library here down 42nd Street, making a left at First Avenue, and walking, it's about 4 blocks up to the U.S. Mission. So who are we? People walking by might wonder who we are. We're many, many groups. Most of us based somewhere around New York City or in New York City, and we believe that nuclear weapons have to go. And many of us, I don't know, there's some people here who have been working on this issue for decades. Other people are very young and have just discovered the seriousness of nuclear weapons. Everybody is here and believes. We're here, it's cold, we didn't have to be here. We're here because we feel this deeply in our hearts. Part of the groups here form a coalition, or just an arrangement called Roses to Mission. And we have been delivering roses to those missions of the United Nations where the countries have signed and ratified the treaty. Other people worked on, and other people have worked on different projects, saving the planet from the climate crisis we're in. Other people have brought us, are here because they worked on a project to light up the United Nations the night before last with the message, nuclear weapons are illegal. There are artists and technicians involved with that. We're also part of a national actions taking place all over the country, hopefully all over the world, calling for nuclear weapons to be banned by the nuclear weapon states. So you've got our plan. We're going to sing, we're going to talk, we're going to march. And I'd like to welcome Anthony, Donovan, and Bud Courtney to come up and give us some little music to get us going.
All right, we're going to face the people. Thank you.
This little treaty of ours, we're gonna let it shine. This little treaty of ours, we're gonna let it shine. This little treaty of ours, we're gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. All the time, all around the world, we're gonna let it shine. All around the world, we're gonna let it shine. All around the world, we're gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. On a Monday, give me the gift of love. On Tuesday, give me grace from above. On Wednesday, tell me to have more faith. On Thursday, give me just a little more grace. On Friday, get down on my knees and pray. On Saturday, tell me what to say. On Sunday, give me that power divine, just to let my little light shine. This little treaty of ours, we're gonna let it shine. This little treaty of ours, we're gonna let it shine. This little treaty of ours, we're gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine. One more time, everybody keep walking. This little tree of ours, we're gonna let it shine. This little tree of ours, we're gonna let it shine. This little tree of ours, we're gonna let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine.
We're doing this for the public. All right, because we're trying to get the message out to the world. Okay, the next speaker is Brendan Fay. Brendan, there's a lot of things we could say about him, but he works very hard with the New York campaign to abolish nuclear weapons. He's a filmmaker. And before you come up, where's Joanne Robinson? I can't, everybody's got so many. Joanne? Where are you, Joanne? You're up after Brendan, so can you come up close here? Okay, come on, Brendan.
All right. Thank you. Hello, good morning. My name is Brendan Fay, and what a great honor to be here with you, peacemakers of New York City, standing here at the New York Public Library between patience and fortitude. That's what these peacemakers have. We are here today as New Yorkers, as one event, one of many events that are happening across the world, organized by the human family on this first anniversary of the Treaty on the Prohibition of Nuclear Weapons. All across the world, in cities, villages, and towns, people are gathering. The force of humanity that brought this treaty into being. When we spoke with government representatives and ambassadors to the United Nations to extend our thanks to them, they said, it is to you, the people, we owe the thanks. It is to you, the grassroots movement, that forced us, compelled us to take a stand against nuclear weapons and bring this treaty into being. I am honored here today as a New Yorker to be honoring and celebrating the passage of New York City legislation on nuclear disarmament. And all of us have been part of that movement for 4 years. The people united will never be defeated. We are the peacemakers, the movement. Today, from these steps and on these streets, we raise our voice to live in a world without nuclear weapons, for the sake of children, for a future of hope. But I just want to say 2 last things. We are here with hearts of grief, and we are here with hearts of gratitude. We're here with grief for all who have died and suffered because of the evil of nuclear weapons since their production. We are here because we are aware and sensitive as human beings. You see, we decided to let our hearts be opened and awake. You cannot avoid the anguish and the pain and the cost of these nuclear weapons in our world and the threat they are to our children and to our earth, our home. That's what brings us here. We're also aware they're not only a threat to some future, but every day right here in the city, money spent on nuclear weapons is money taken from those in need of housing and homes, healthcare, hunger, schools, veterans. So nuclear weapons take from our lives every day. That's what brings us here. But our tenderness and our tears and our grief move us into action. And so I am here with you with a heart also of gratitude, profound gratitude that all of us are part of this global movement. Nations will never just surrender nuclear weapons. It is the movement of people like us that make it happen. Yesterday, we went with roses to mission, embassy to embassy, and where we were thanked for this movement. And also, the night before, projected under the walls of the United Nations, artists and activists projected a message that nuclear weapons are now illegal. And one face and voice was in that message, and that was Setsuko Turlo from Hiroshima, who recently just turned 90, who has spent her life to tell her story and to awaken hearts and to help rid our world of nuclear weapons. Thank you for letting me be part of this movement. What a great movement we are. Let's continue, by the way, to the NYPD and to the NPL security. No, we are not here disturbing the peace. We are here to disturb the war and to use our voices, our bodies, our votes and our hearts to rid our world of nuclear weapons. Thank you all.
The next speaker is Joanne Robinson. Joanne Robinson from Peace Action, New York State. She comes from Westchester, Yonkers, a fantastic organizer there. And she knows how to hand out leaflets. Good afternoon. I'm 81 years old. 8 decades working for peace. Just like you heard Brendan speak, we need you to come out and tell your president and to tell your representatives to sign the treaty. To sign the treaty. This week you celebrated Martin Luther King and his dream. His dream was to end nuclear wars, that we would have money for health care, as Brendan said, money for schools, money for employment, money for climate change. It is up to us, civil society, to take it in our hands and to pressure. If you love the earth and you love your children and you want it safe for generations to come, then you out here must make sure that you pressure our government. We are always leading about the nuclear war, but we don't lead because we don't take action. We don't sign the treaties. Now it's up to us to tell them you can't talk about leadership if you don't sign the treaty. So I'm asking you, pleading with you, to get back to your phones, to go home, tell your friends, tell your neighbors. U.S., sign the treaty. It's up to you to make the difference, just as Brendan said. We don't no more bloodshed, for only peace. Peace to be shed. Peaceful means peaceful world. Thank you. Okay, next up is Sally Campbell from the Morning Heights Friends, Morningside Quakers. She has a song for us.
All right, Sally!
The other Sally. That was Sally Jones, of course. We get confused sometimes. So, I have a song which was inspired by Gandhi. As you may have heard, there's a phrase that goes around, you must be the change you wish to see in the world, which I think is a wonderful phrase. But people kept saying, what do you mean? Don't tell me what to do. You must be, what do you mean? So I happened to get to meet the grandson of Gandhi, and I said, what did Gandhi say? He said, we must be the change. So I sang this, and as you get a chance, sing along. We must be the change, be the change, be the change. We must be the change we wish to see in the world. We must be the change, be the change, be the change. We must be the change we wish to see in the world. And I wrote a few more verses. This one is, we must live the love. We must live the love, live the love, live the love. We must must live the love we wish to see in the world. We must live the love, live the love, live the love, live the love we wish to see in the world. And the next one is, we must sing the truth. We must sing the truth, sing the truth, sing the truth. We must sing the truth we wish to see in the world. We must sing the truth, sing the truth, sing the truth. We must sing the truth we wish to see in the world. The last one, share the peace. We must share the peace, share the peace, share the peace. We must share the peace we wish to see in the world. We must share the peace, share the peace, share the peace. Share the peace we wish to see in the world. We must be the change, be the change, be the change. Be the change we wish to see in the world. We must be the change, be the change, be the change. Be the change we wish to see in this world.
Mari, are you close by? Yes. I want to introduce to you Mari Inoue. She is the co-founder of Manhattan Project for a Nuclear-Free World, and my colleague and co-organizer of Roses to Mission. She is a wonderful person to work with, and I'm so proud to be her colleague. Mari.
Thank you very much, Sally, for leading this event. And without you, I don't think we were able to co-organize Roses to Mission and this rally in March. So thank you, Sally. My name is Mari Inoue, and I'd like to make a very brief comment. Nuclear weapons impacted mainly the indigenous communities and communities of color. It also impacted people here in the United States, mainly communities impacted by the development of nuclear weapons, such as harmful nuclear sites that continues to contaminate their water, their river, their lands. Also, it contaminates the communities near the uranium sites, and also radioactive waste from nuclear industry also impacts not only the storage sites, but also those communities impacted by the transportation of radioactive waste. So we need to think about this issue. It's not about just use or testing, but also the whole cycle of this nuclear madness. Yesterday we went to missions of states that ratified the Treaty on the Prohibition of Nuclear Weapons. Most of the countries that ratified the treaty are those states in the global south that we don't usually hear in the mainstream media. They ratified the treaty despite the enormous pressure from nuclear armed states, including the United States, not to sign, not to ratify. If you ratify, then unratify. So we wanted to express our profound gratitude to those states who courageously ratified the treaty. Because of them, the treaty entered into force last year on January 22nd, 2021, and nuclear weapons became illegal under international law. So now it's our turn. People of the United States have to stand up, because unless nuclear armed states abolish nuclear weapons and eliminate nuclear weapons, we are not going to eliminate nuclear weapons in this world. So thank you so much for joining us today in this very cold weather. And thank you so much for your dedication and your passion and inspiration. Thank you.
Thank you, Mari. Our next speaker is Emma Pike. She is a peace educator and a member of Reverse the Trend. She'll tell you more about that. Emma?
Yes, thank you so much, Sally, and thank you so much, everyone, for being here. As Sally said, my name is Emma Pike. I am a peace educator, and also I'm here today on behalf of an initiative called Reverse the Trend, which works to amplify the voices and activities of youth activists, young people who are fighting for nuclear disarmament and climate justice. And recently, I was on social media, as many of us are these days, and I saw someone post this very famous quote by a previous US President, John F. Kennedy, and it goes, "Ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country." And those are beautiful words, but I think actually today, we need to be asking also what our country can do for us. Or rather, what is the bare minimum that any country should do for its citizens and its inhabitants? And we can think of many things: provide education for all, access to health care for all, basic human necessities. But I think that before anything, a country's most fundamental duty to its inhabitants is to keep them safe and to never infringe on their right to exist, to never infringe on their right to life. And of course, the possession and the development of nuclear weapons is the ultimate infringement on our right to life. Yes. As we know very well, nuclear weapons quite literally have the power to end human life as we know it. But a revelation for me was actually that nuclear weapons don't just have the potential to wipe out human life and life on Earth as we know it. In this country, as some of the speakers before me have alluded to, nukes are actually killing people every day. And I'll tell you what I mean. In 2020, in the first year of this now 2-year-long pandemic, the United States spent $37.4 billion on nuclear weapons in 1 year. That's $37.4 billion of taxpayer money. In a year when literally hundreds of thousands of people were dying from COVID-19, not to mention any other possibly preventable cause of death or human suffering that you could name, the United States government decided that it was more important to spend $37.4 billion on weapons of mass destruction than it was to spend that money on saving and improving the lives of its citizens and its inhabitants, its people. I think any person would agree that this is unacceptable. So nukes don't just threaten our lives, they actually directly affect our lives every single day. I know this is a grim picture to paint, but the fantastic news is that exactly 1 year ago, the Treaty on the Prohibition of Nuclear Weapons entered into force, and nuclear weapons became illegal under international law. Yes, and as we can see, this is a truly, truly global movement. And around the world, almost 90 countries now have signed this treaty, with the majority of those ratifying it as well. And overwhelmingly, it's the people. It's the people just like us who have made this happen. It's the people who make their voices heard and influence those who have decision-making power. And if there's one thing that New Yorkers have taught me, it is that New Yorkers are experts at making themselves heard. So friends, let's march today to the U.S. mission to make our voices heard and make it clear that we, the people, demand our right to exist in peace. We demand that the U.S. takes one step toward fulfilling its most fundamental duty to all who live on this land, to sign and ratify the ban treaty. Let's choose life. Thank you.
Okay, we have a special speaker today from, come up, Carlos, from the climate movement. So we want to hear what you have to say.
Sure. Well, happy Earth Day, comrades. We all know that we need Earth Day every day. We're long past that point. But I want to point out that tomorrow is 3 months until Earth Day, and tomorrow we're trying to call Earth Day of January, is marked by a very important one-year anniversary. So I'm grateful that we were invited in here. We are called the Earth Flag Brigade, and yet, though I'm speaking right now, we more want to speak with this flag, because we're going to a place in just a minute where right across the street, thank you, right across the street there's 190 some odd flags. However, nation states have not served us. If nation states, the European nation state has led us to the point where there are nuclear weapons, we're at the ad absurdum endpoint of these illegitimate formations that do not serve the people. We, the 99%, do not want nuclear weapons on this earth. So let our voices be heard as we walk. Let these flags say that this is our home. This is what we're defending. The rest of it is just the military-industrial complex and the warmongers, and we don't want any more of that. Humans want the extinction of nuclear weapons, not our own extinction. Thank you.
So, Bud and Anthony, would you just get us warmed up again a little bit?
Oh, Lord. Okay. We do anything Sally asks us to do, and all of you. All right. So the requirement here is to move. You got to move your legs.
So I'll face this way. If I had a treaty, I'd sign it in the morning. I'd sign it in the evening, all over this land. I'd sign for justice. I'd sign for freedom. It's a treaty about love between my brothers and my sisters all over this land. If I had a hammer, I'd ring it in the morning and all over this land. It's the hammer of justice. It's the bell of freedom. It's a song about love between my brothers and my sisters all over this land. Phyllis! 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 If I had a bell, I'd ring it in the morning, I'd ring it in the evening, all over this land. It's the bell of justice, it's the bell of freedom, it's the bell about love between my brothers and my sisters, all over this land. If I had a song, I'd sing it in the morning. All over this land. I'd sing out danger. I'd sing out warning. I'd sing out love between my brothers and my sisters all over this land. Guess what? Well, I've got a hammer, and we've got a bell, and we've got a song to sing all over this land. It's a hammer of justice, it's a bell of freedom, it's a song about love between my brothers and my sisters all over this land. The hammer of justice, it's a bell of freedom, it's a song about love between my brothers and my sisters all over this land.
I didn't. Thank you. Jun Yusada is here.
Jun Yusada is
Oh, there's so many people. I want every single person to be here and speak, but we do need to march. First, We got a couple more speakers, so hang on. Is everybody okay? Yeah. Okay. All right. So Casey Brookes Richardson, back of me. She is a youth activist. She is with the Nuclear Age Peace Foundation and Reverse the Trend. And she's got a lot going on.
Thanks. A little shorter than the rest of the speakers. So we good to go, everybody? All right. Well, I just wanted to thank everyone for coming out despite the cold. It's that kind of dedication that's going to move us forward to a nuclear-free world. And I'm equally grateful to all the states that have already ratified the Treaty on the Prohibition of Nuclear Weapons, but we still have a long way to go. My name is Casey. As they just said, I'm a junior in college studying international relations, and today I'd really like to speak on behalf of my generation and those that will come after us. Despite the fact that we have no say in today's nuclear policy, or we're even alive when most of those policies were put into effect, it's us that will inherit this world that they have poisoned and continue to threaten every day through their mere existence. The level of peril the world is in due to nuclear weapons has never been as bad as it is today, and it is only getting worse. Today, not only do we have to live with that knowledge, but the generation which came before us that created this problem expects us to fix their mistakes, and we will not stand for it. We did not cause this problem, but we will end it. And that starts right here with all of us who are passionate about the survival of the human race. It is up to us, the informed minority, to spread awareness to future generations in hope that they will not be forced to live in a world that is 100 seconds away from utter annihilation. The United States is a global leader, and we need to show the U.S. that we will not stand for its obstructed views against the TPNW. It must ratify the treaty. Very few activists can say that their cause is truly a matter of life and death, but ours is paramount and essential to human survival. We need to show them that enough is enough, and we will not live in fear any longer. And that's why we have to march and show them what we believe in. Thank you.
Thank you, Casey. I keep finding out that more people have arrived. I think that Jun from Albany is here. Can you raise your hand wherever you are? Yeah, Jun. Thank you for coming. Al from the Ramapough Mountain people are here. It's just amazing.
Oh, sorry.
I know we need to march these, but I want there's some people that need to speak too. So maybe Jun, can you say just a couple words? And Al, could you say a couple words?
This action moment, everything prayer towards. So I like to introduce Al. He's a Ramapough tribe people. They are living Manhattan, original people. So I very appreciate Al is here because they are original people. Where to go, from 500 years. So he gonna offering prayer to this land. Thank you.
Anashik, Kishalamokwane, Anashik, Wachi Manitou, Elamiliang, Coconut Key, Walk Undi, Walk Dashun, Walk
pinned down. On the sheet, on the sheet, on the sheet, on the sheet. So oftentimes when we talk about land acknowledgements, we focus on the human world. I also wanted to acknowledge the natural world as well. And in that prayer that I just said, it's from the original language of these lands, the Munsee language. And what I said was, thanks to who created us from thought, thanks to the Great Spirit for giving us our Mother Earth, the waters, air, and fire. And I have this water here from the Ramapough Mountains, the sacred Ramapough Mountains. And I almost made it to Manhattan, but I walked to near Manhattan to a place called Bergenfield with this water. And I'm going to offer it to the trees here because we don't really acknowledge them and don't respect them as beings. And I think that's the problem, is that we take our water for granted and our air. And uranium, don't let them fool you. I mean, it's bad from A to Z. It needs to stay where it is. So whether it's nuclear power, whether it's nuclear weapons, it's just killing us. I know in the Navajo Nation, they say that I think 20% of the women have been exposed to uranium, detectable amounts of uranium. So it's a human rights issue as well. So I just wanted to say I'm glad to be here. Also, yeah, the doomsday clock. I mean, they look at the climate change and the nuclear weapons, and today is a good, strong step towards pushing that clock backwards. Unfortunately, we're taking down our treaties, other treaties. So we need to address that as well, but today is a good day, and I just wanted to say on behalf of myself as a member of the Ramapough Nation, thank everyone for being here. I'll give this water to the tree and gratitude towards the trees as well. So Inoue, thank you.
I forget our son starts peace walk from his nation, Mau, from 12 o'clock night time to Wagensfield to this morning to join our walk.
9 hours walk
Someday we need to make that walk with you, Al. Yeah, let's plan that.
Next year, hopefully it's warm.
Well, maybe when it's a little warmer. I don't know. All right, so moving along. Poor People's Campaign. Lars Swan, come up. Say a couple words. Yeah, get us
Thank you. I'm Lars with the New York State Poor People's Campaign. A national call for a moral revival. Our country's all pretty screwed up. We're a really backwards nation here. It's not a banana republic, more of a bomb republic. Our economy is failing because we have a health crisis and we have people dying. We have over 140 million people who are poor or who are one health crisis away from being wiped out economically. We have people losing their homes, being evicted. Yes. Anyway, I don't want to keep you standing here. I want to get walking. All I have to say is the Poor People's Campaign is a nonviolent revolution, but it is a revolution. And we see militarism as being one of the evils, interconnected with the other evils: environmental destruction, lack of health care, poverty, sexism, racism, all the rest. It's all one big, ugly system that has to change, and we have to change it. Thank you for being here. And move.
Thank you. Almost ready. Okay, but we have two people we need to hear from. First is Kathleen Sullivan from the New York campaign to abolish nuclear weapons. Because of her work and many other people she brought, the United Nations sent a message to the world. You can tell us about it. Kathleen Sullivan.
Hi, everyone. I just want to first echo on something that Joanne was talking about. Just last week, we commemorated the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Everybody likes to sanitize his message. You know, civil rights, human rights, yes. But he was also about poverty and the problems of capitalism, and also about militarism. Dr. King and other civil rights leaders like Bayard Rustin, a New Yorker, recognized nuclear weapons as the ultimate tool of white supremacy. Nuclear weapons are racist, they are colonialist, they are patriarchal, they must be got rid of for the sake of our planet, as Owl just said, for the sake of lifting each other up. What is exciting right now in New York City is that we have just passed legislation through City Council making New York City, again, a nuclear weapon-free zone, creating the impetus for our new comptroller, Brad Lander, to divest our pension funds from nuclear weapon producers. This is fiscally responsible. It is morally responsible. Also in this legislation, we will be revisiting the spots where uranium was stored for the Manhattan Project. The nuclear age was born in New York City from Pupin Hall in Columbia University, where the first successful fission experiments occurred, to the offices downtown where the Manhattan Engineering Project existed. Also sites in Queens, Staten Island, and here in Manhattan, uranium was stored for the nuclear weapon project in Los Alamos. Few New Yorkers know that. There are still Superfund sites that need remediation from a project to build the bomb over 75 years ago. We're going to do that with this legislation. Yes. I'd just like to say briefly, this coat is very warm. This coat was my friend Sandy Parker's. Sandy died just a month ago. This coat is keeping me warm. There are many New Yorkers who are freezing on the streets right now because they don't have a home. They don't have a warm coat like this. While the United States government invests in weapons of omnicide, people in our own country are starving and dying from cold. This cannot continue to happen. So in the spirit of my beloved friend, Sandy Parker, I'd just like to ask all of us just to think for one moment about somebody we love, about something we love, about the trees, as Owl just said. I'm sure that all of us here, if we saw a young child run into traffic, we would do everything we could to save that child. When we think about who we love and what we love, everything and everyone we love is threatened by the existence of nuclear weapons. Let's think about who we love, let's care for each other, and use that power to create a world free of these monstrous weapons of racism, patriarchy, and colonialism. We can do that together. Thank you, Sally. Thank you, Mari, for organizing this event.
Kathleen. Seth Shelden is going to be our last speaker. Seth represents ICAN, the wait for him to go by just a second. Hopefully. So Seth Shelden represents the ICAN organization that won the Nobel Peace Prize in 2017 because they helped galvanize the world to get this treaty before the United Nations. So Seth, can you come and say a couple words for us? And then the Raging Grannies are going to sing a song as we get organized and get our banners and everything together to start marching. So you can, after Seth speaks, start getting ready to march, okay?
Thank you, Sally. Thank you, everyone, for coming out in this tropical weather. As has been mentioned, yesterday morning at 10 a.m., the Bulletin of the Atomic Scientist set the doomsday clock, which is the famous metaphorical symbol that experts from the Bulletin use to tell us how close we are to nuclear catastrophe. According to this year's doomsday clock, we are closer than we have ever been in history to the risk of nuclear Armageddon. That may surprise perhaps not the people behind me, but perhaps the people in front of me who are walking by, because I don't think that this is something that most New Yorkers and most Americans, most U.S. citizens realize. And yet, as we're walking by and going to work and home and school, we are at greater risk than even at the height of the Cold War, that we will all be destroyed, that everything we hold dear will be gone forever. And here in New York City, as Dr. Sullivan just mentioned, this is the city where nuclear weapons began. We have a special responsibility to act and to do something about it. So what are we doing about it? Well, this is what we're doing about it. I'm holding a copy of the Treaty on the Prohibition of Nuclear Weapons, which entered into force exactly, well, one day off, but 1 year ago, on January 22nd, 2021. Happy anniversary, everyone. Happy first anniversary. And yes, I bring you greetings from the International Campaign to Abolish Nuclear Weapons. We are the winners of the 2017 Nobel Peace Prize. And I'll just tell you real quickly before we get moving about what this treaty has accomplished even in its first year. Just a few things. In this past year, we've seen more states join the treaty. We now stand at 59 states parties as we prepare for the first meeting of states parties to be held later this year. In this year, more states have gone on record in support of the treaty. We're at all-time high for support. More than 2/3 of the world, 138 countries, support this treaty and are working to join it. More financial institutions have divested from the nuclear weapons industry in this past year. Trillions of dollars have been divested by financial institutions that are citing the Treaty on the Prohibition of Nuclear Weapons as the reason why they are divesting, because nuclear weapons are now illegal. More parliamentarians and congresspeople have been pledging to bring on their country to join the treaty as well. More than 2,000 have signed the ICAN pledge, where they pledge to bring their countries to join the treaty. More cities have been declaring that they support the Treaty on the Prohibition of Nuclear Weapons and call on their national governments to join. 119 cities joined just in this past year. Now we have hundreds of cities around the world that have joined. And, not least, but in fact best, this city, New York City, joined on December 9th, just a month ago. And that was a comprehensive, as you just heard, a comprehensive and consequential package of legislation that does much more than that, that will bring our city to divest from the nuclear weapons industry, that will set up this committee that will help educate New Yorkers and reverse the stories we've been told about nuclear weapons and help bring about a safer world. It's a really exciting piece of this puzzle. So that's what we're doing about it. Happy first anniversary, and thank you for listening today. Go to icanw.org to learn more about us. Follow #NuclearBan on all the medias, and happy anniversary. Thank you.
Thank you, Seth. So just a reminder, get ready to march, get your things together. The Raging Grannies are going to come up and sing. We're going to be marching up to 42nd Street on the north side, so walk all the way to First Avenue, then make a left, and then we're going to walk up to the U.S. Mission. What's the cross street of the U.S. Mission? 45th Street, okay, 45th Street. So we all got that? And just, keep, I hope everybody's going to be able to march with us. Okay, Raging Grannies. And we're going to start packing things up while you sing.
We won't be offended. We're freezing. Okay. So happy birthday to the Nuclear Proliferation Treaty. And we're going to sing nuclear proliferation. Ready?
Yeah, you can have
Nuclear proliferation. We must stop its global spread, or the people of the whole world have to live in fear and dread. We must all tell all the nations we cannot have nuclear war. Peace and justice, common safety, that is what we're marching for. We must destroy atomic weapons. We must make them disappear. We cannot have our lives shattered, and those bombs are everywhere. Now there's a treaty to ban these weapons. Yes. U.S. sign on, do not wait. And the people of the whole world will cheer and celebrate. Okay, one more. And you can sing along with this one. Oh, when the people go marching in. Oh, when the people go marching in. We will rise in celebration of our nuclear weapons ban. Oh, when the people go marching in. Yes. Oh, when the people go marching in. Yeah. We will end proliferation with our nuclear weapons ban. Oh, when the people go marching in. Go marching in. Oh, when the people go marching in. We'll make the U.S. join the other nations in our nuclear weapons ban. Carry on, let's go.
I can ask that. Thanks, Joe. You're doing the mouth.
I've been trying not to follow too long because it's so diabolical. Oh, yeah.
Testing.
the treaty! When do we want it? Now!
Look at the building, it looks like it.
What, Ellen?
Oh, yes, okay, that's a good one. But I'd just like to remember, there are many people to remember, of course, thousands and thousands and thousands, but I would like to pay tribute to Eleanor Roosevelt, who really was one of the inspirations to found the United Nations, her and her husband. And Eleanor Roosevelt really knew how to get rid of nukes. She knew way back then, in the beginning, how to get rid of nuclear weapons. She had Khrushchev over her house with his wife. So she knew that you had to embrace this so-called enemy, and you had to become friends and share food and share life stories. So if we had listened to Eleanor Roosevelt a little bit more, this race would not have happened. And that's still the way to go right now. Stop our magnifying this term called enemies. Start crossing and embracing our fears and embracing our negativities and get to know one another as human beings. So anyway, I deeply appreciate every single person that came out today. And I also want to appreciate the NYPD that's been very cooperative and helpful to us today. Thank you very much. So, Sally, did you have a quote or something you wanted to say?
Maybe somebody else would like to say something.
Would anyone else like to say
Would
something?
you like to say something?
You.
If we can. Awesome.
I'm Rosemary Page from Christie, the Catholic Peace Movement, and I want to say in particular, today in Washington, D.C., the March for Life is happening, which we all know is really a march against abortion. But I want to affirm us as being the real March for Life, because opposing nuclear weapons affects all life on the planet, every person, every non-human living thing. We are doing the March for Life today. We are right to life people because we believe in the abolition of nuclear weapons and support this treaty and call on the United States to sign this treaty and ratify this treaty. So to all of us, congratulations for being the March for Life.
Woo!